I guess first kind of talk a little bit about your development and how you kind of emerged toward the end of last season to become a starter.
So my first 2 years, 2.5 years, really, I was on scout team. Just doing my part, knowing your role. Coach Nehemiah talks about knowing your role and embracing that. So I did that for 2.5 years. And then through COVID and some injuries, I got an opportunity to play. And I excelled. I did pretty well against Memphis in my first career start. But I think that's just a testament to how our corner room operates in general. Even through all the coaching changes, we've always embraced next man up. So even if you're 3-4 deep on the depth chart, we always come ready to play. Everybody goes to the meeting, so we're all prepared.
So what did playing last season, the time you got in games, what did you learn? There had to have been great learning experiences in game that you take away.
Well, obviously the quickest thing, just like how intense it is playing in a game and how fast everything moves. In practice, we go pretty fast, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's at the same pace as it would be in a game. So getting adjusted to that was definitely, it was definitely a learning curve for sure. And just, I feel like I watch a lot of film. I pride myself on trying to be a smart player. So actually using the stuff that I've learned through film study and applying that to game, I saw that actually pay off and work in a game. So just learning new things like that.
So obviously, I'm sure Coach Newberry and other coaches talked to you in the off season about what you needed to improve on. You know, you always get a bit of a scouting report and this is where you need to get better. What were you told?
Well, for any corner, they can always work on footwork. So just perfecting the little things like footwork, my eyes, having your eyes in the right place is critical in being a cornerback, especially in our defense with everything that we do. So just improving my footwork, my eyes. I personally want to work on my explosiveness. So with strength staff, I worked on that and that improved definitely. So.
All right, I'll pass it along to someone else.
Randy Cross.
Yep. Thanks again, Jamal. Yeah, you're in let's just say it's a very aggressive defense. And in an aggressive defense, being a corner can be a pretty daunting experience. In games, can you compare what happens in practice to what you saw in games at this level, or even sort of through your career as a corner, sort of the difference in the way things ramp up? Because you can be out there on Fantasy Island pretty fast.
Yes, I found myself in those situations numerous times in the couple of games that I ended up playing at the end of the year last year. It's definitely just, like I said earlier, it's just a learning experience, learning curve. Going against the people that we go against in our conference in the AAC, Memphis, Tulsa, you're going against some really real deal receivers, NFL bound receivers with a lot of speed. One thing though that helped me a lot was in practice. We do a lot of one-on-ones. So I'm lining up on an island against Coop, Chance, and guys like that. So that helped me out a little bit, but it was definitely, again, a learning experience. Doing that on game day is a little bit different. So
what's your preference as far as styles of receivers? You talk about the couple of your examples you just gave, but difference between a Chance and a Coop. I mean, one guy's good size, pretty available, very strong. And the other guy's kind of like a water bug at times, where he can squirt around pretty good.
I personally like going against bigger receivers. I think a lot of times they see me, I'm only like 5'10", 5'11". They think they can bully me around. I pride myself in our corner room in general, prides ourselves on being physical. And bigger guys really aren't going to outrun me that much. So I personally prefer going against bigger dudes. Little guys like Chance, they're a lot quicker harder to guard off the line and things like that. So.
Yeah. You sort of waited your turn. You alluded to being on the scout team. There's quite a few examples of sort of what you did on this football team. How does that prepare you sort of mentally for the Navy experience from a football standpoint? You know, everyone wants to start as a freshman, but heck, most people as freshmen don't even get a chance to do anything.
I think that you just get very mentally tough. Like you said, everybody's coming out of high school as being like the man. You're thinking, okay, I'm gonna go in, play right away. That didn't necessarily happen. So going through those times and the cornerback room, all the players like talking to you about that, because a lot of us have been through that. A lot of the guys don't come in and play right away. So going through that just makes you really mentally strong. And I think it helped me a lot. So nothing in the game really ever startled me that much. I've been in tough situations before, so it just added to my mental strength.
All right, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Phil Bergman.
Jamal, is there a NFL player, either current or former, that you like to emulate your play off of?
I'm a Patriots fan. Stephon Gilmore. He's a very, very smart player. I like to, like I said earlier, I'm not necessarily a 4-4-4-3 guy, but I like to watch film and put myself in positions to succeed in that way. So film study and playing like him, getting my body in the right positions, being a smart player, knowing down and distance, knowing like what routes they like to run out of center formations based on their split, things like that. I take that a lot away. I take a lot away from Stephon Gilmore in that sense.
Are there any young guys out there that have really impressed you so far this fall?
Yes. We've been dinged up a little bit. So a lot of young guys have been able to step up and get some live game experience and practice in the scrimmages. So Dre Grace, he's a name that you guys will definitely see this season. Abisa Sambo, one of my best friends at corner. We played a lot. We had a big special teams role last year. You guys will see him. He's been very, very impressive during this camp. A freshman, a plebe, and BD Williams. That's a name to look out after this year and beyond. A lot of those, and Romaine Williams, Rowe, we call him. He's had a pretty good camp too. So.
And lastly, for me, we're going to talk to Coach Green after you're done. Now that he's in coach of the cornerbacks, just what have you seen from him out on the field this past year? Obviously, he's coached with you guys for a while.
Yes, sir. So Coach Green was my corners coach my plebe year. He's the one who recruited me here. It's kind of crazy. Like, he's the one who got me here, and then now he's a coach that's going to be the coach after I leave. So he's a juice guy. He brings a lot of juice. I love that about him. Camp is rough. You get tired. Your personal energy is not always going to be there, but you can never, like, he will always bring that energy. And I love that about him. So that, and just his understanding of the defense, he's had a role very closely tied with Coach Newberry the last 2 years. So he knows the defense extremely well. And he's been, especially with some of the older guys, just understanding the defense as a whole and how, like, we fit in the puzzle, not just knowing our specific job, but like where our help is and things like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wags, I'm back to you. Chick is passing.
Okay, very good. We'll talk about the transition. I mean, you guys are now had 3 coaches in 3 years. You had Brian Norwood, and then he departed, and James Adams, and he departed. Now Coach Green, who has been around, so you're familiar with RB. Can you just talk about that, and how are you adjusting to having a new cornerbacks coach?
Well, transitioning to Coach Green, it wasn't that big of a change, really. I've been very fortunate to have 3 great corner coaches in my time. some of the philosophy and the way they approach every like day-to-day things are somewhat the same. They definitely have some differences, but like I said, I've been with Coach Green before, so some of the stuff like especially Caleb, Mikey, and I, we've already known from the jump. So, and he's also been around, so it wasn't like a new face or anything like that.
And I will talk to Coach Green here in a bit, but apparently injuries have been an issue. Do you feel that everybody will be full strength come the opener?
Yes, just a little bit dinged up, like I said a little bit earlier. Everybody will be back by Marshall, so we're not worried about that at all.
So I know you didn't play all season last year. You had 2 starts, but do you feel like you've become a leader in the room, the cornerback room?
Absolutely. All the seniors in the room are Caleb, Mikey, and myself. We've embraced that. And Coach New and the whole entire coaching staff has really put all the seniors, we all look at ourselves as leaders. And especially in the cornerback room, Mikey, Caleb, and myself have embraced what the culture has developed into since we've been here. We've taken bits and pieces from corners like Jeremy Griffiths from 2 years ago, Jared Ryan from my plebe year, CK, and Marcus Wiggins and Micah Farrar, those type of names. We've taken bits and pieces and tried to apply that.
Why don't you just kind of bring us up to date with what's happening with cornerbacks? We just got done talking to Jamal Glenn. He and Mikey were starters entering camp. I have been out to practice a little bit and haven't seen Mikey practicing a whole lot. Both Coach Newberry and Jamal talked about some people being banged up. I'm going to guess he's one of them. Just kind of tell us where we're at.
Yeah, so McMorris, he was out about midway through camp. Nothing too bad. It's just that he tweaked his hamstring a little bit, but he's a guy that we don't need to see a whole bunch of for him to get ready. He's been starting since a freshman year, and so we held him out just to make sure he's completely healthy. He has no issues going into the Marshall game, and so he's one of the guys that we just taking our time with to make sure he's back to full health. He'll be back for the Marshall game for sure.
So who's been ones in the absence of Michael?
So that was since Michael was out, it was an opportunity for us to get a lot of young guys some extra reps. So Jamal Glenn, of course, is going to be a starter for us, and Ibisa Sambo, who's now a junior, will be one of the next guys up. Really excited about him. He's a local kid, local product here from Maryland. It's been played a lot of special teams for us in the past, and now we've moved him up in the depth chart, and we're able to get him a ton of reps. That McMarsh was out this fall camp, so excellent opportunity for him. And then there's another young freshman, Mbidi Williams, Napster from Georgia, who is a bright young star who has some of the similar attributes that McMorris has. And that he's, will contribute this year as a freshman as well.
On that topic, I think I've seen a couple freshmen other than Williams that have been kind of working in. Do you have another freshman or two that are you're giving a look to?
Yeah, I stole a defensive back from the safety room, a kid named Willie Collins V. Who we brought him over as he's a safety last year, but he's has some speed and some size on him. So we went and I asked Coach Newberry if he could come over to the cornerback room. He said yes. So we brought him over. You've probably seen him get a lot of snaps as well. You'll see him get some more snaps today, as well as Elias Larry he's from California kid, direct defensive back. 3-star rated guy. He was a 3-star, DB coming into camp, and he's definitely shown as much some promise there to get some opportunities here too. He'll be a special teams guy, and will contribute later down the line a little bit.
Great. So real quickly before I pass it off, the two projected starters, Michael McMorris and Jamal Glenn. Can you speak about what each of them brings to the table, what their strengths are, what you like about each of them in their own right?
Yeah, let me start with Michael McMorris first. Again, he started since his freshman year, so he brings a ton of experience to us. He's an all-conference player. He's probably one of the best DBs in conference. If you look at his body of work and really diagnosed it, I don't think many folks have completed balls on him. He's been attacked, by just about every team we play. Air Force went at him 3 times to try to close the game out in the game, 2 years ago here, and he ended up getting all those balls out. So arguably one of the one of the best players on our team, athletically speaking. He's the fastest for sure, and he just brings a ton of experience, ton of football knowledge. He's quick as a cat. He jumps 40-something inches in the vertical. He is a legit, prospect to go on and do greater things out of here. So we really like that, what he does, what he brings to the table, his experience and his athleticism. And so we trust him to match him up with the best in conference as far as receivers go. Jamal Glenn. Jamal Glenn's a special kid. You just talked to him, but I don't know if he's told you his whole story. We recruited Jamal Glenn. He, again, a local product out of here. Went to school locally here from Peachtree County. And he was, what attracted us to him is, I enjoyed the fact that young man, as a high school kid, at the start of high school, would ride, 3 buses and a train and walk a mile to school every day, going and coming, playing multiple sports, football, playing, some, lacrosse, some other sports. He would do that every day, of his high school career. So, getting to school, getting up super early to get to school, playing a sport and staying late, and then having to take that 2-hour track all the way back home every day was pretty special. And so what attracted us to him is that he's a kid that is a grinder, a worker, somebody who will work his way into anything. So, and that's what he's done here. He's made himself into a Division I cornerback by sincerely just working hard and going to work every day. And when he got his shot last year, I think he started against Memphis, was his first start. He made the most of it with a turnover, had a heck of a game, and he's been a starter ever since. So awesome young man, awesome character. He's a guy that we will see doing some other greater things down the line. I wouldn't be surprised to see his level of success, after the Naval Academy is over with.
Thank you.
Randy Cross.
Hey, Coach, do you do anything special kind of with the guys or in the room for this time of the year? Because these kind of dog days, when you've been at it for a while and you don't have a game exactly right around the corner, can get a little frustrating. If because I know you remember those days.
I do, yes, Randy, I do remember those days. I'm sure you remember those days too. And you got to shake it up a little bit. So I'll switch them. We're separated in field and boundary corners. So I'll switch it up occasionally and throw Jamal Glenn to the boundary, where he normally plays field, has a entirely different defense over on that side of the ball. And so we have to do those things. We have some competition, internal competitions that we put together that allows guys to come and compete every day. Some days, instead of meeting, we'll have to go out and do some walkthroughs, get guys off their feet and get guys on their feet, moving around, because these dog days of fall camp, can wear on your body and mentally. So sometimes just get them out in the fresh air without having to meet, three times a week, 3 times a day, excuse me. And so we just have to keep them moving, throwing different things at them. I test them, I quiz them. Sometimes we meet, sometimes I'm doing most of the talking. A lot of times they get up and coach each other. I'll allow them to do that. And so lots of different recipes to try to get through fall camp successfully, and also to have some legs at the end of it going into the season.
This is a pretty unique staff. I mean, you're not unfamiliar with it, but I mean, these jobs don't change over that often. And you're at a position now that, has had 3 straight different guys. That's kind of different for Coach Ken's coaching staff, isn't it?
It is. But it's all in the same family. So I was Mikey and Jamal's. I was their first coach as a freshman. I coached him as a freshman. Then Coach Norwood, who was my coach, came in and coached him for a year. So that's still part of the family there. And then Coach Adams, who knows Coach Newberry, came in and coached him for a year, and then I'm back as a coach. So a lot of still familiar faces. I never left the program. I was always here, still always coaching along the way. And so therefore the transition back to me was not as steep as it could have been, with somebody else. So there, again, keeping it kind of all in the family, a familiar face made things a lot easier for them, the guys, to transition back to a new coach. And so, as you can imagine, Coach Norwood, you're talking about royalty in the defensive back world of college football. He is royalty. Like, he is one of the guys that people seek out when they need knowledge on things defensive back wise. And so I think that was an added benefit having him here for that short time, even for myself, because he is my mentor when you talk about coaching defensive backs, and I've been leaning on him for a long time. So to have him here for a year was fantastic.
That's great. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Phil Bergman.
Coach, when we talked to Jamal, he mentioned you're the juice guy, the energy guy. Do you like being known for that? Is that your coaching technique?
Yeah, I think so. I'm an old man. You think about the staff, but I'm still a young coach in number of years actually having coached. And I think the one thing that I do bring is the energy and some effort. We pride ourselves on having elite effort around here, and that's one thing that I don't have to have experience in to do well. So I'm always trying to bring some energy to the table. These guys here, the amount of workload they take on outside of football, and then the amount of work we put on them as football players is tremendous. And so, I know that energy is contagious. And so if I can bring some and help one of the guys out, then they'll then spread it throughout the team.
In your role as director of racial equality last season, you were able to have some impactful and powerful conversations with the football team. What's in store for 2021?
What happened since last year is that our athletic department has really taken on the lion's share of work when you start talking about diversity, equity, and those types of things. And so a lot of that has been taken off our plate that is now handled at a much larger level, which probably, it's where it should be. It should rest at the athletic department level. And so then we're now a part of it. We're not the Plank owners right now. The Plank owner is the athletic department. So now as football players, as football team, we can do some of the similar things and focus on helping secure a board chair for diversity and inclusion efforts here on campus, support that issue, and then we get it out into the community and talking about now our local high schools and community efforts so that we can help secure diversity and inclusion efforts down at the high school and middle school level. We start talking about curriculum exchange and things of that nature. Thank you.
I've known RB since 1993. He's always had juice. Always.
I haven't had a bad day since the 8th grade. And so that a guy stole my girlfriend in 8th grade first day, but yeah, so I'm happy to be here. I love this school. I love this program. I know what it does for young men. And I'm happy to be a part of it. So there's nothing for me to ever complain about around here.
Jack Hernandez.
Yeah, sorry about the girlfriend, Coach. You mentioned dog days. I don't know if you had dog days last year because a lot of this stuff was via Zoom. So how different and how much of a pleasure is it to get to some sense of normalcy and go eye to eye with your players and be able to scheme deep into into the camp and through the season, as opposed to what Coach Ken said was I throw out last year because we just didn't prepare guys well enough.
Yeah, it will be, you know, similar to I don't know, jumping in the ring with Mike Tyson, right? Whatever, having sparred anybody, like, you know, you jump in with the best of the best, and go toe to toe with a heavy opponent, not having sparred or even put on a pair of gloves. So that is what it was like. And now we got good on good. You know, we get to go toe to toe with our brothers. And physically feel what it's like to run your body, your head into another man's chest, you know, and understand that, you know, the soreness and all that stuff that comes after the amount of there's running shape, but there's running into other people's shape, which is totally different. And so there's a little bit of fear in all of us to run yourself full speed into another person, right? And so if you don't ever get over that, you take that little bit of fear into a game, and that makes you play a little bit slower, a little bit less physical, those types of things. So having now done that and having exposed ourselves back to real football again, and man, it feels good to be back and on the grass and doing those things.
I've asked the other coaches this, is there a player that when you got to spring, you know, because you're there's always the unknown when you get back with the guys, and you know you've talked with them throughout the off season, and they've got what they're supposed to work on. Was there a guy that when you saw, even physically or when they started working out, you went, oh, eyebrows raised, like someone's been working really hard?
Yes. Now, my position group, I know Jamal Glenn is one of those guys who's worked his butt off. And man, he is sharp now. I mean, he's the guy that now we're really counting on big time to step up. He's no longer a role player. He's the guy we're counting on. But I will brag on my buddies down at the D-line level, because they make our job a lot easier. I'm telling you what, I mean, there's some young talent down there that Coach Hall and Coach Downing are putting together. And I don't know if we've seen across the board. You know, we've had some really great D-lines across. I mean, think about Will Anthony, some of those guys back in the day, you know, Bernie and even you know, recent success in 2019. But across the board, you know, huge, big guys, you know, Biscuit and Cromwell, Busick, who is a bright young star, hadn't seen any playing time, but probably one of our better D ends that we've ever had here. To have that size and speed and versatility, you know, I'm psyched to see those guys up front. And I don't mind bragging on D-line, because they, you know, good D-line make a great DB all day long. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what the D-line does. I think that they're the strength of our defense, and I think they're going to do a great job this year.
Thank you.
Stacy.
This is my debut. I've never asked a question on here before. So once a Marine, always Marine, right, RB?
Yes.
So I am curious how you feel about the uniform for the Air Force game and what that means to you as a Marine to have a Marine themed or Marine inspired uniform.
I am beyond ecstatic, blown away, you name it, about this opportunity. I've been, you know, part of the, you know, some I don't know, some of the planning, and yes, has gone in for this. I've been privy to some of it years ago. And so I've been looking forward to this opportunity for a very, very long time, and it couldn't come at a more perfect time. You know, in the celebration, I guess, memorializing or celebrating the lives of those folks that went on before us in 9/11. So, and at the Air Force game nonetheless. So I've sent that out to all my Marine buddies. It's across the globe now. People are buying jerseys and t-shirts, and my wife went out and bought a bunch of stuff. We are super excited about this Marine representation at this Air Force game. So the stadium will be packed with scarlet and gold and blue on that weekend.
Awesome. Thanks.
With regard to getting back to coaching a specific position, you have been a defensive assistant, kind of helping out in a variety of areas, but how does it feel to be back chasing around those cornerbacks around the field?
Oh, I mean, when they gave me the opportunity in the spring, I mean, I took it and ran with it. I was super excited about the opportunity to have my own room back again, and it is and to get Jamal and McMorris back. And like I said, I had him as freshmen, and now get to coach him as seniors has been the joy of my life this year. So beyond, maybe graduating from here, getting married, and having kids, this is probably the fourth or fifth best time of my life as far as where I am. Happy to be coaching back again.